Welcome to Mind Decoded, where we explore the psychology behind human behavior. Let's decode today's topic. You brush your teeth every morning without thinking about it. You reach for your phone the moment you wake up. You take the same route to work. You sit in the same spot on your couch. You check social media while waiting in line. You bite your nails when nervous. These aren't conscious decisions. You're not weighing options. Your brain is running on autopilot. And here's what most people don't realize. Up to 40% of your daily actions aren't decisions at all. They're habits, automatic behaviors triggered by specific cues in your environment. Your brain creates these automatic loops to save energy. Decision-making requires mental effort. But once a behavior becomes habitual, your brain can execute it with minimal conscious involvement. This frees up your mental resources for novel situations that actually require thinking. But there's a problem. Your brain doesn't distinguish between helpful habits and harmful ones. It will automate whatever you repeat consistently. Exercising every morning becomes automatic. So does scrolling social media for 2 hours. Understanding how habits form in your brain is the key to building the behaviors you want and breaking the ones you don't. Because once you know the mechanism, you can deliberately design habits instead of accidentally creating them. Today on Mind Decoded, we're breaking down the neuroscience of habit formation. The 3-step loop that every habit follows. Why some behaviors stick automatically while others require constant effort. And how to use this knowledge to build lasting change. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. This content is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered medical, psychological, or mental health advice. If you're experiencing mental health concerns, please consult with a qualified mental health professional. Let's start with what happens in your brain when a habit forms. Every habit follows the same 3-step pattern. Cue, routine, reward. The cue is a trigger that tells your brain to initiate the automatic behavior. It can be a time of day, a location, an emotional state, other people, or a preceding action. The routine is the behavior itself. The action, thought pattern, or emotional reaction that executes automatically when the cue appears. The reward is what your brain gets from completing the routine. Rewards can be physical pleasure, emotional relief, social approval, or simply a sense of completion. The reward reinforces the loop. Here's a simple example. You sit down at your desk to work. That's the cue. You immediately check your email. That's the routine. You feel a small hit of satisfaction from clearing notifications or learning new information. That's the reward. This loop has repeated so many times that it's now automatic. Sitting at your desk triggers the email checking behavior without any conscious decision. This happens in a specific part of your brain called the basal ganglia. While your prefrontal cortex handles conscious decision-making, your basal ganglia stores automatic patterns. As a behavior repeats, control gradually transfers from the prefrontal cortex to the basal ganglia. Neuroscientist Graybiel discovered that during habit formation, brain activity changes. When you first learn a new behavior, your entire brain shows high activity. But as the behavior becomes habitual, brain activity spikes at the beginning and end, while activity during the middle drops. Your brain is creating a mental bookmark. It marks the cue and reward, but chunks the routine in between into an automatic package. Once this happens, the behavior executes with minimal conscious involvement. This is why habits feel effortless once they're established. You're not using willpower or motivation. You're running a program your brain has already written. Now let's talk about why some habits form easily while others never stick. The key factor is how quickly the reward follows the behavior. Immediate rewards create habits faster than delayed rewards. Scrolling social media becomes habitual quickly because the reward is immediate and consistent. Your brain learns this pattern in days. Compare this to exercising. You work out, and the rewards are delayed. You don't see results immediately. The benefits come weeks or months later. Your brain has difficulty connecting the routine to a delayed reward. This is also why bad habits form so easily. They provide immediate rewards. Smoking delivers instant relief. Eating junk food provides immediate pleasure. Procrastinating gives immediate anxiety relief. The consequences are delayed, but the rewards are instant. Researcher Wendy Wood found that context stability is crucial. Habits form faster when the cue is consistent. If you exercise at the same time in the same location every day, your brain quickly learns the pattern. If you exercise randomly, the cue is inconsistent. The habit never solidifies. This is why willpower-based approaches fail. Willpower requires conscious decision-making every single time. But habits bypass this entirely. Once the cue appears, the routine executes automatically. No willpower required. So how do you actually build a new habit? You need to deliberately construct a habit loop with a clear cue, obvious routine, and immediate reward. Step 1. Design a specific cue. Don't rely on vague intentions. Your brain needs a concrete trigger. After I pour my morning coffee, I will put on my workout shoes. The coffee is the cue. Step 2. Make the routine as easy as possible initially. Your brain needs repetition to automate the behavior. If the routine is too difficult, you won't repeat it consistently. Start absurdly small. Don't commit to a 1-hour workout. Commit to putting on your shoes and doing 1 push-up. Step 3. Create an immediate reward. Most worthwhile behaviors have delayed benefits. So you need to engineer an artificial immediate reward. After your workout, you get your favorite coffee. After studying, you watch 10 minutes of a show you enjoy. Psychologist B.J. Fogg calls this celebration. After completing the routine, you deliberately create a positive feeling. Smile. Say, yes, out loud. This sounds silly, but it works. You're giving your brain an immediate emotional reward. Now let's talk about breaking unwanted habits. You can't simply delete a habit loop. Once your basal ganglia has encoded a pattern, it stays there. But you can override it. Psychologist Charles Duhigg explains that you keep the cue and reward the same, but change the routine. This is habit substitution. Let's say you eat cookies when stressed at work. The cue is feeling stress. The routine is eating cookies. The reward is comfort and distraction. To break this habit, you identify the cue and reward, then insert a different routine. Cue. Feeling stressed. New routine. Take a 5-minute walk instead of eating cookies. Reward. Still get distraction and relief, plus movement helps regulate your nervous system. The key is identifying what reward you're actually getting. Often it's not what you think. Understanding the true reward lets you find alternative routines that deliver the same benefit. Another strategy is disrupting the cue. If you can't resist checking your phone when it's visible, put it in another room. Remove the cue, and the automatic routine can't trigger. This doesn't delete the habit, but it prevents activation. Here's something critical about habit formation. Research shows it takes an average of 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. Not 21 days. That's a myth. But this varies significantly based on behavior complexity. Simple behaviors like drinking water after waking up can become automatic in weeks. Complex behaviors like going to the gym might take months. The important thing is understanding that habits require patience. You're literally rewiring neural pathways. This takes time. If you've been doing a behavior for 2 weeks and it still requires effort, that's normal. Now here's what habit formation doesn't mean. It doesn't mean you'll never need discipline again. Some behaviors will always require effort, especially when circumstances change. Habits work in stable contexts, but disruption breaks them. When you travel, when you change jobs, when your routine shifts, your habits often fail because the cues disappear. This is why people struggle to maintain habits after major life changes. It's not weakness. It's neuroscience. The cues that triggered your automatic behaviors no longer exist. You have to rebuild the habits in the new context. You're not lazy because habits are hard to build. You're not lacking willpower because bad habits are hard to break. You're a human with a basal ganglia that automates patterns based on repetition and immediate rewards. Understanding this mechanism gives you power over it. Your brain will build habits whether you design them intentionally or not. Every behavior you repeat is teaching your brain a pattern. The question is whether you're consciously creating habits that serve you or unconsciously developing habits that work against you. Next time on Mind Decoded, we're diving deeper into the habit loop with a specific focus on the cue routine reward pattern. How to identify the hidden triggers for your habits. How to design routines that actually stick. And how to engineer rewards that make good behaviors feel automatic. Don't miss it. And that's how the mind works. If this helped you understand yourself better, subscribe for weekly psychology insights. Thanks for watching.